You can tell I like green, right?
I love your bit much.
I thought I'll show you guys my art setup. I know some of you guys are thinking of doing art, and that makes me so excited for you guys. So honestly, for me, what really helps is having the setup there. If I have the space ready, then it's more inviting and makes me want to go back. I do my art in the study, so there's Ayla's table, there's Isaac's desk. A lot of times we're in this room together, and yeah, so this is my table. It's a L-shaped desk, and since I like to sit with my legs crossed because I've got short little legs, I really love this big chair. It's really comfortable. Domo can sit behind me. On this side of the table are my art supplies. I used to have everything sort of like put away, and when I need it I take it out, but I find that, again, like I said, when it's all out in the open, if I'm deep in my art, it's just so much easier. I can just grab on the go when I'm doing my art. So I've got my acrylic, I have some gouache here. These two I don't use as much. I've got my pastel pencils, which I love. These are the Carpathello ones. Yeah, Carpathello. Really like them. I've got my oil pastels. These are brand new, so I'm hoping to play around with these more. This is the Etcher watercolor palette, which I'm absolutely loving. It's so pigmented. These are my sketchbooks, and then I used to like put makeup in this, and now it stores my acrylic pens. These are the gouaches that I use the most. These are the Winsor Newton gouache, which I use a lot. My coloring pencils, paint brushes, my rubber pencils and stuff. A lot of the stationery is like stuff they used to use and they don't use anymore, so I ended up stealing it. I've got my ceramic mixing dish. My iPad is here. And then these are the paintbrushes that I grab most often. Just sit here. Some kitchen roll, and then on this side of the desk is my laptop. And then the brushes I don't grab as much. Oil is definitely not for me. It takes way too long for it to dry, so a lot of stuff I don't use as much as underneath. Again, using the containers that the kids don't use anymore. I got my spray, Mod Podge, like masking fluid, my acrylic mediums. Here I store more sketchbooks and like palettes and stuff. So yeah, I know it is a bit of a mess, but it's perfect for what I use it for. And then up here, I love my strip lights. They're so bright. So yeah, these are great. But yeah, this is my setup and I love it. You guys, it is slipper season. Oh, not only that, sweater season. You can tell I like green, right? So I'm hoping to finish this illustration today. But yeah, the brush I use is just your basic pencil brush. So it can be defined, or if you sort of hold it in the side, it does more of the shading. A tip someone told me when it comes to making digital art is actually not to zoom in so much, because you end up just getting sucked into the details. So just sort of draw as if you're drawing on a piece of paper, because you can't really zoom in on paper. Should I draw a neck on him? Because he doesn't really have one. So that's a good thing about Procreate. If you make a mistake, you can fix it. And draw his beard back in here. Maybe like here, because my dress. Just some sign of like laces. Oh, ran out of battery. I think it's a sign to stop and take Domo out for a walk. Kyle's going to be answering your questions. First question, is Kyle single?
No.
No,
Married.
he's a married man. He's happily married.
Look at that bling.
What is the best way to lose stubborn thigh fats?
You can't spot reduce, so you can't just pick an area like your thighs here and go, okay, I'm just going to lose weight off that, and do like squats or, you know, adductor crushes or anything like that. It's like saying, you know, I want to do sit-ups to lose weight off my tummy. It won't work. So you can't just pick and choose which area you want to lose body fat off. It will come off your whole entire body at one go. Some spots might feel like it's going down faster than others. It's probably just because you have less fat deposits in those areas that you see more progress on faster. So whenever it comes to losing body fat in anywhere, it's going to come down to being in a good calorie deficit, and it's going to come down to making sure that you're exercising enough to build good muscle tone, which will give you a faster metabolic rate and in turn help you lose body fat all over your body. So you can't just pick the area, but if you're in a good calorie deficit, that'll help it come off everywhere, especially your inner thighs.
So the next question is, this girl, she says she's got toned arms and legs, but her stomach is always bloated.
Bloat is going to be a digestive issue. If you're bloating and your tummy is extending, then it's usually a digestive issue where you're struggling with processing food correctly. So bloat usually equates to having too much gas. So if there's a lot of excess burping or maybe a couple of farts squeezing out, that's what real bloat is. If it's a case where you just feel like there's more weight on your tummy, well then that's going to come down to, again, making sure that you're in a calorie deficit and making sure that you mobile sides. Yeah, good, back to your jewel. Any sort of weight on that midsection can sometimes feel like it's the last place to come off for a lot of people, and usually because that's where there's stubborn fat tissue that sits there for a longer period of time, and naturally your body will want to hold more around your organs, so that's where your weight wants to hold, is around this area, because that's where your vital organs are. Number one, to protect them, and number two, to keep everything nice and warm in that area as well. So that can always feel like it's the last place to go off. So if you've got toned arms and you've got toned legs, it might just be the case that that's the last place for your body fat to go off.
Do you ever take your dog out to a nice park and you do it to de-stress and for your mental health, but then your dog decides to choose violence and bark and growl at every dog? And today's entry is going to be dedicated to, I think I've been drawing a lot of trees lately, to be fair, but I really like that moment when I was in Wallace Park and I just looked up and the sky was so blue today, and yet, you know, the trees above, you can see all the colors from the leaves. I thought that looked so pretty. It's one of my favorite things to do actually when I'm out. I love to look up and see the leaves like against the sky. So we're going to be doing a little paint along today. It's just going to be a quick one, so we're going to be doing it together. The only thing is this page is stained, but hopefully we can paint over that. So to start off, I'm going to mix a nice blue for the sky. It was so blue today, like I can't tell you how pretty the sky was, guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint the entire paper. So let's do this side a bit more pale. So I'm just adding some white here. Yeah, the blue that I use is pretty much just primary blue mixed with a little bit of white to make the sky blue color. All right, so it's dried. So now I'm gonna take some white. Oh, that is not white. This is why sometimes I just paint in watercolor, even though I'm not as good in watercolor. It's just handy to just grab from the palette. And I'm just gonna start adding some clouds. Don't overthink it. Just go ahead and apply that. Sometimes I do like to use reference, but other times it's just sort of nice to not use your thinking brain so much and you're just going with it. I'm just gonna like round off some of these clouds here. Since the view is looking up, the tree and the branches are all going to move towards the center of the page. To make the dark brown, I use burnt umber and I mix it with Prussian blue. To be honest, a lot of these branches are going to end up being covered, but it's good to paint them anyway, just roughly, so we would know where to place the leaves. And speaking of leaves, I'm taking a nice lime color and using a filbert brush, I'm just dabbing it, making impression of bunches of leaves. We're going to be starting off with the lighter and brighter colors first. You can use any color you wish. Maybe you want all of your leaves to be like a sort of yellowy, orangey color. I'm gonna have a mixture of like greens and bronze and red. Once that's dried, I'm gonna go back to the colors that I just used and just sort of like define some parts a little bit. Like these parts here. Start making some like leaf impression. Go back here with my filbert brush again. So at this point, we're just adding more density using a darker color with the filbert brush, just dabbing away in some areas, and then going back to a small round brush and defining those little edges again, making those leaf impressions. I'm going to go back and I'm going to paint some of those branches back on and adding a little bit more detail this time around. Some parts can be more darker. Go ahead and dab again. Make little like dashes, more impressions of leaves. At this point, you're really just refining the picture, adding little branches, little extra bits here and there, defining the little leaves. Maybe you want to fix up the sky. So this is today's entry. When I look at it, I'm gonna remember that today was a beautiful autumn's day where Domo tried to kill everyone. I lost some of those bright details, and I'm gonna add some of them back in just slightly, so you can still see the light peeking through. Okay, I'm actually gonna stop. Okay, I'm gonna stop.